First things first, we want to thank our host and sponsor, Improving. Improving has sponsored this group from day one. They gave us the pizza and the drinks, which is why we're all here. Cheers. Support. If you don't know what Improving is, I should work in Improving. We're a software consultancy. We do everything in IT, software development, AI/ML projects, agile coaching and training. We've got offices all over North America, really, and even South America. So I've been working here for about 3 years. This group has been going strong for about 2.5, and they've been huge supporters since day one. So thank you to them. So today's agenda is right now we're going through the introduction and some announcements. We have a guest speaker, Godson. Raise your hand, please. He has a great project showcase for us. Super excited about that. Afterwards, we're going to have our elevator pitch circle where we get to know about what everyone's working on and learn a little bit more about each other. And then afterwards, we sort of evolve into just open networking. The meeting is from 6 to 8, but I am here usually until 9 or 10 even. So if there's any leftover pizza, we eat that and we just chat the night away. So don't feel like you have to leave right away. For all of our new members, I'd like to do a quick introduction of who we are. Myself, my name is Daniel Mahmoud. I am a senior software consultant. I've been a software developer for about 10 years. With that, we'll hand it over to Godson. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'm Godson. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. Weather's not too bad, so hopefully the drive wasn't too bad. I am the founder of Quickgredients. If y'all aren't already familiar with what Quickgredients is, I'll tell you about it later. Whisking it all, a recipe for entrepreneurship. So today I'm going to talk about basically, the ingredients that came together to cause me to embark on my journey with Quickgredients. And then I'll talk about what Quickgredients is. And then I guess what's coming next for Quickgredients. I'll also talk about like Daniel mentioned, right? The whole point of Side Project Society is like for us to get like a real tangible pulse on like what it means to be an entrepreneur. And so like we don't want any of the BS. We want to see like, we're tapping into people like when they're in the moment, right? Like or when they're building it, maybe in the beginning or like in the early stages. And so you can see like just like the authentic experience and like whether it's commiserating even or just like encouraging each other and supporting, like that's kind of the whole point. So that to say, I'm going to talk about like the chaos that I'm also going through. There's always like some chaos under the hood for startups, really for any business, but definitely for startups. So I'm going to talk about that. And then, what's next, right? What's for dessert, I guess, since we're keeping this food themed. So
if the pizza wasn't here, this would go really poorly.
Right, get everybody super hungry. Yeah, just really frustrated. Oh yeah, so I posted about this, and in the post on LinkedIn, I had a quote, a podcast quote. So podcasts, man, that's like an entrepreneur's best friend, at least these days. So the quote that I had was, "Fear is a mile wide but an inch deep." Does anyone have any idea what podcast that came from? Cool. Does anyone listen to startup podcasts, entrepreneurship podcasts? Okay. All right. No worries. Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, no, that's cool.
I don't know where the quote is from. But
yeah. No sweat. Well, which ones do you listen to? Just curious.
I like How I Built This.
Yeah.
And then there's Founders.
Founders. I like Founders too. I'm listening to Founders, and of course we are, but I've got to listen to How I Built This. Okay, we'll connect over that later. I actually forgot which podcast this came from. So I was like, oh, that'd be great. So, the one that I mentioned, not this one. Yeah, that was a different one. So that's why I'm put up this one. I know where this quote came from. So fear is about self-preservation. I just had to pick another one about fear just in case, but I imagine probably no one knows what this one came from either, so I'm just gonna skip to it. Modern wisdom. Have you heard about that one, Daniel? Okay, all right, so now we both have, that was my one for you, and then we got one for me. In any case, I picked this one because, I mean, I'm up here giving a talk, right? And then as an entrepreneur, actually, you'll probably hear a lot when you have an idea like, or no, you won't hear this a lot. You'll think this a lot is, I don't want people to steal my idea, right? So you probably won't share it a lot, but you should actually share that idea. That's like the best way to test your hypotheses, right? And build a team or rally support. Like, you're gonna have to talk about your idea and anyways, I don't even do it. So the point is, I'm up here giving this talk, right? And we're talking about entrepreneurship. And so people get like stage fright. And fear, what I've learned is like, whenever you if you have stage fright or you're like afraid about giving the talk, it's really just about, preserving yourself. It's about your self-image is kind of where that fear comes from. And so what I've learned is if you just kind of more focus on like what you're talking about, if it's ideally you're talking about something you're passionate about, right? And so if you just kind of channel that passion and focus on, hey, like, if you really believe in what you're talking about, then you're not like, it's like, you're not gonna experience the anxiety, right? Or you're not gonna like choke because you're not gonna be thinking about yourself. Yeah, that's why, yeah. So you're not gonna feel that fear, right? So that's just another little tidbit that I've learned. It also came from a podcast, but I've learned it as well as I pitch, right? Being an entrepreneur and sharing my idea a lot. I've, I guess, become better. I don't know, I guess you'll be the judge of whether this is a good talk or not, but I feel like I've become better at public speaking. So the ingredients for being an entrepreneur, I'm gonna move around a bit. Sorry, I didn't even mean to like hold myself there. This wire was just there, and I guess I ended up just like standing there. Yeah, it felt like super restricted. I'm like, man, I just feel like so restricted right now. I don't know. Okay, this is good, all right. But I still gotta see that, yeah, okay.
Godson, do you want someone to run your slide?
Run your slide? It's okay, no, it's all right. I'm gonna move around a lot, like it's all good. I can just come over and click this, like it's all good, thanks. So, key ingredients, right, to be an entrepreneur. For me, not even just to be an entrepreneur, but at least I'm gonna talk about my story, right? It's not gonna be the same for everyone, but these were the ingredients for me. And I guess this is what fit my diet, my entrepreneurial diet. This is what worked for me. So, pirate. Anybody watch anime? All right. So, does anybody know where I'm going with this? One Piece. Yes. All right. Well, yeah. Right. So, basically, like, I say pirate because I feel like to be an entrepreneur, and this is, from, of course, I'm talking to a lot of founders at the same time, and I'm sharing stories, right? I feel like you got to be, of course, willing to go through. Of course, you got to be committed to your idea, right? And you got to be willing to, just go through a lot of stuff. I mean, and as far as like being, ups and downs, right? And being a pirate, or for me, I relate that to being a pirate because it's like, if you're setting out on this adventure, you're going out, ideally building a team, right? You're getting a crew, rallying a crew, you're building this ship, and you're sailing, and your crew's got to believe in you, right? And ideally, there are like seasoned pirates, but most of them probably didn't know what they were doing, right? And so, like, that's what you go and you don't know. It's a lot of unknowns, and you just got to figure it out, and it's fun, and it's something you're passionate about. So, right, and then going through a lot of stuff, right? And sometimes you go. I accidentally went hungry the other day, just because actually I was just like working a lot, right? And I get lost in ideally again something you're passionate about, and so I just get lost in the work or what I want to get done for that day, and like I literally like won't even eat for an entire day, like sometimes. So don't encourage that. But as far as again just being a pirate, like they go hungry, right? So in any case, you got to be ready to be a pirate, right? You got to be willing to go through some hard times, some tough times. Some pirates had families in One Piece, at least. I don't know. I wasn't up, but in the cartoon they had families. Some of them had families, and I've met entrepreneurs who have families, right? And you just got to make sure that you're in you can make that judgment call. You know what's good for yourself, what you're able to handle, and put maybe your family through it, right? But anyways, enough about being a pirate. You got to have a big problem. This is my second ingredient, right? So I'll talk about Quickgredients, of course, again, but by big problem, like, I just mean like not a personal problem, right? Something that is a problem for a lot of people, ideally, is then what's going to ideally develop into. And I know Daniel said, like, you know, this is side project society, so it doesn't have to be like a profitable business, right? It can just be like, you know, you can just be like launching your like a photographer or like any like it doesn't even that it can be a nonprofit, right, and stuff, right? A blog, right? Yeah. So let's see. Big problem versus personal problem. So I guess in that case, the blog doesn't, that doesn't like, it's not a, I don't know if, I guess if you're launching a blog though, that's still something you're trying to appeal to something that a lot of other people will resonate with, right? You're not launching a blog. Do people launch blogs and just talk about themselves that like no one, and like not try to care about?
For me, the thought is if you're gonna put your thoughts out there,
Yeah.
it's for you more than everyone else, right?
Okay.
So it's not really a business.
Okay, a blog,
That would be
okay.
more like a personal journal.
Okay, yeah, okay, fair enough, okay. Well, anyways, so I guess that's not a good example. That's not what I'm talking about. So I guess the entrepreneurship that I'm talking about, right, is a startup, right? Yeah, something that is it's a problem for a lot of people, not just yourself, not a personal problem. Validate. So once you feel like you, I guess you're committed and you can take this idea as a pirate. You feel like you have an idea or a problem that's for a lot of people, then you want to validate that, right? Is it really for a lot of people, right? So for me, I validate, this is actually a screenshot of Quickgredients, how it started, the prototype. So, I forgot to mention that too, as a pirate. So I didn't really get to practice this because running a company, you're just busy doing all that stuff. But so being a pirate, yeah, I was literally overseas when I got the idea for Quickgredients. So I was getting my master's degree at UH, go Cougs, but I was getting it abroad. I was in Colombia, in Brazil, and Guatemala, and Europe. So, but I was overseas, right? And I was taking an entrepreneurship course, and that course required us to have this idea, and that's kind of where Quickgredients was birthed. But let's see. Yeah, the prototype, right? So I built this prototype in that course in college using balsamic, right? And that prototype it's like it's balsamic, and so it's something that you can like tap. It's not like a working app, but it's something you can tap and it'll respond and kind of mimic, like it'll move to another page and mimic the feel of it, right? So yeah. So just to say, that's what it's like a product. So that's what I used to validate my idea, right? I talked to a bunch of people after I came back to the United States, and this was well, anyways, maybe I don't need to go too deep into that right now. Let me finish with the ingredients. But you need to validate your idea and talk to a lot of people, right? That's how you do it. Talk to ideally the people that your problem is solving. Yeah, the people that your problem is solving for. Yeah. Circumstances. So I put Uber up there because I mentioned that I got this idea when I was in my master's degree, came back, got a full-time offer, and then, I'm in software, I was a full-time offer as an associate product manager, and then the tech bubble burst, right, in 2023, so like all the layoffs happened, and I was gonna start a full-time job, and they withdrew the offers, or actually, 2 offers withdrawn. So I put Uber there because I started Uber driving, right? So the circumstances of, okay, yeah, like, I guess, the pirate thing, the big idea, validating it, and then losing my job, so I guess that just gave me a lot of extra time. And since I already had this idea from college, I was like, well, I have this extra time. I can, continue to, pull the slot machine of job applications every day, or work on something I'm passionate about, or just why not do both, right? And so that's kind of where I actually began to take Quickgredients seriously. And yeah, I think there's always some element of circumstances involved in luck, right? Involved, honestly, in a lot of these things, or in entrepreneurship. But yeah, structure. So all of those ingredients, and then finally now I'm like, okay, I lost my job. I'm willing to commit to this thing. Now let's take it seriously. And so I found an accelerator program, right? I think at this point, you just got to be willing to be a lifelong learner. Like the ingredient really there is, I'm trying to say you want to apply structure to it, but really at that point, it's just about just learning and what you need to do to grow your business. And so for me, I took an accelerator program. This is the Founder Institute logo. And they just helped me, put some structure around like what it means to actually make this idea an actual business.
How did you find this program and apply for it?
So I found Founder Institute. I think, actually, dude, I can't remember, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to lie, but
Was it through networking or?
dude, I really can't remember, man. Cause like, I know like, so, okay. Founder Institute, probably through networking, yeah, some kind of event, right? Yeah, some like LinkedIn, maybe some newsletter, something like that. But what was I, like, why was I there in the first place? Why did I get that? You know, like, I think I had probably, right around the time of getting laid off and deciding I want to commit to this idea, I think I had started to maybe look up like, I don't know, Houston startup ecosystem stuff. I don't even know, like, because I don't even think at the time that I knew what an accelerator was, because that's what I'm trying to actually think about right now. How did I even learn about accelerators? And I can't remember how I even found out about accelerators, but that's kind of where it started, and Founder Institute is an accelerator, and that's kind of where I had the idea of, okay, yeah, this is the engine that's gonna help me put structure around this idea and make it an actual business. So.
Are you going to go more into detail about like what you learned from there? Or?
From FI? I can. I think that's definitely something you're welcome to come to talk to me about more in depth. But if you have I forgot to say that at the beginning. If you have any questions, welcome to raise your hand. Interrupt me throughout. I think I would rather if you don't, but if you do interrupt me, it's okay. So too legit to quit. So I think I think this is just like, okay, yeah, so we got all the ingredients together and now we're, kind of the snowball is rolling and we are not stopping anytime soon. We now have over 200 monthly active consumers that we're connecting with dietary restaurant menus across 4 cities. And we're growing at a rate of 35% month over month. Yeah.
What does Quickgredients do?
Yes. So, right. I know y'all need context for that. So I think I should go into that first then. Okay. So Quickgredients, who here knows a picky eater? Right? Yeah, you probably, okay, so, are you picky? So, well, chances are that you do because actually, according to the International Food and Information Council, the surge in the food as medicine movement now has 55% of Americans, so over half of us, following some kind of diet, whether it's lifestyle, faith-based, food allergy, or lifestyle, faith-based, food allergy. There's one more category I'm missing, but yeah. Health, thank you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's why you read slides. Yeah, health, yes. Yeah, and actually, speaking of health, actually, that's my mom that y'all are looking at right there. So this is my mom. She's diabetic. She's type 2, all right? And that's the health aspect. It's not a lifestyle, right? So, so it all kind of started with, I transitioned to a more plant-based diet. I'm not strictly vegan or anything, but I do enjoy more plant-based meals. And I use an existing app called Happy Cow, if anyone is familiar with the vegetarian space. And I was frustrated. A lot of these, Happy Cow, I'll start with Happy Cow, only matched me with restaurants, right, that would claim they were allegedly had plant-based options on their menu, but then I would have to do some extra internet searching or scanning research, figure out what those vegetarian options are, right? What does it look like? Would I like it? What do people say about it? Et cetera, right? So just extra tedious searching on my end, and that's just for one restaurant. And so if you're disappointed, you got to do the whole thing over again multiple times, and it's just a whole process. And vegan and vegetarianism is pretty popular these days, especially in the United States. And so I thought, like, if this is a tedious process for this diet that's popular, like, how much more tedious is this for like those less popular diets, right? And so my mom's diabetic. I have a roommate who has shellfish allergies, food allergy, and these are less popular diets. And yeah, like, I mean, I don't even know like how they, at that point, you don't know what you're there's a lot of guesswork and anxiety involved in dining out, basically, when you have these dietary restrictions. So that's Quickgredients, that's not Quickgredients. That's the problem. and so Quickgredients, what we do is Quickgredients. We are the only menu transparency platform that matches dietary consumers directly with verified menu options for their diet, while showing you ingredient, nutrient, and cross-contamination transparency, right? This is, these are the things that you want to be able to, this enables them to be able to make informed decisions, right? And not have that anxiety about like compromising on their diet, if that's even an option. For some of them, it's not, it's life and death, and they can't compromise on their diet. So, and the problem there is that dietary consumers are losing out on, are having suboptimal dining experiences, and the restaurants losing out on business. So Quickgredients, we match y'all directly with verified menu options for your diet, and we basically eliminate the anxieties, allowing you to enjoy a safer, healthier dining experience. This is what it looks like. So that prototype that I showed y'all earlier is now this, and I built the app, by the way. So I have a technical background, and I just, didn't have, we're a bootstrap company right now and going through and fundraising, but so I knew like I don't have a lot of money, but I know I can build this, or I can build something. So I just started building, and now it's coming out nicely. So now the chaos, coming out nicely. It's already out, actually. So I'm going to talk about,
and he's happy.
yeah, it's already. So we're currently actually still in beta mode. We're still pre-revenue, and so I consider that pre-launched. I don't consider it launched until you're like generating revenue. So that's where we're at right now. But we have
Apple, Android, or
both.
Apple, Google? Okay,
Yeah,
both.
yeah. And in Houston, Austin, Dallas, and Philadelphia, and then I'll talk more about where we're moving next. So the chaos, right? Where do I begin? So actually, I think this is actually the one slide that I might actually even have to look at some notes. It's like, where do I even start with this one? Okay, all right. So you start with entrepreneurship, right? It's ideally something you embark on because it's an idea that you're passionate about. But then eventually, if you want this to be, if it's a startup or a profitable business, with those, asterisk, then you have to make it a business, right? You have to learn about the business. You have to learn about everything about your customer. You have to learn everything about the distribution channels, everything about the financials, the metrics. You have to start tracking things. You have to start learning. Yeah, there's just so much, right? And so you start ideally, whatever it is that you're being an entrepreneur for. You start it because it's something you're passionate about, but you eventually have to learn other stuff that you may not be as passionate about, is my point. Sorry?
Management.
Yeah, right. And so I guess, that's kind of where all the chaos starts to come in. But I think if you're able to do all that other stuff, right? Like I'm now, I think I put some of these other icons there to I think those are just meant to be like the stuff that I'm always doing, right? So I mentioned that I built the app. But as the founder, I'm of course coming out and talking about it at whether it's stuff like this or pitch competitions or just events. So I'm going out, I'm applying for grants, I'm doing the accounting, right? You got to do accounting for your business, keep track of all the expenses for taxes. You've got to engage investors. You've got to learn more, still stay on top of the business, right? So learning about the industry, your customers, you've got to recruit. Your biggest job, honestly, as an entrepreneur or owning the business is hiring, right? And staffing and building your team. And so a lot of my time is spent on meetings with my current team that I'm so grateful to have, but also now like I'm currently recruiting the next CEO. So the guy that I'm currently buddies with right here, that was the previous CEO. And so this is all part of the chaos, right? It's like I'm hiring, I'm doing all these things, you're doing all these things at once. But again, it's not, I think if you're able to start something you're passionate about, learn about all this stuff, and do it, and it doesn't kill your drive, then you're set for success, right, for your business. And then, of course, right, that's why you bring people on your team, too, so to help you out with all that other stuff that maybe would kill your drive. So there was that. I know I talked about like all the other stuff I'm doing. Again, I didn't really get to practice this, so I'm just gonna look at some notes. Okay, yeah, so my co-founder, right, so this chaos right here, so, I definitely, like, you wanna, everybody's business idea is gonna be different. I definitely encourage, again, having a team. It's something, depending on what your business is, investors will, if you want investors, they will look for that, especially at the early stages. Having a good team is what matters most. So in any case, these images are, that was my CEO, and this is an image of me actually. So he just left the company, and this is an image of me pitching the business right after our exit interview. So we met, did an exit interview, and then I had to go and like pitch the business again, and like our team and everything. So it was just like part of the chaos, but it was just fun, and I guess, there's always, I don't have to talk too much about some of this stuff, but I think there's always a level of like, it shows like, I guess my commitment to it. And some of his reasons for leaving were like, he mentioned profitability, for example, right? And ironically, with entrepreneurship, depending on what you're doing against, these things can take years to become profitable. And it's actually not even a reason, it's really not, I'm not gonna go too much into the drama, right? But like, it's not really like the valid reason, but in any case, to say that, that's like, you have these, team, you have these team, you can have like team issues, and you pitch the business, and you find the silver lining in what you're passionate about, and that's what kind of keeps you going through and sticking to the mission, right? And so I think that's, you just sticking to. Right, yeah. It's stressful. Mm-hmm.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts, maybe.
Right, yeah. It can be a lot of different things, right, that can stress you out, but I think there's other people on the team, ideally, that you can have to lean on. Again, benefits of having a team. And then if you don't have a team, having a support system, so coming to stuff like Side Project Society. There's also another group that I sometimes meet with monthly. So even though there's chaos involved in entrepreneurship, I think having support systems is really what gets you through that, whether that is hiring people directly to your team or having support systems external to your business. Enough of the chaos. I think actually there's actually one more bullet. Yeah, I just remembered on the chaos too. There's never enough chaos. I think I was just gonna say like on the money too, just like, I think I was just gonna say fundraising, right? I think investors, at least I'm just gonna talk about what we're doing. If investors, if you are gonna pursue VC funding, it is a moving goalpost, right? And so just be prepared for that. And I think if you stick to it's what they care about is traction or revenue that your business is bringing in. And if you're not bringing in revenue, then just stick to what you're doing that you think is going to continue to build that traction. Those are my 2 cents there, I guess. So what's next? Dessert. What's for desserts for Quickgredients? So we have an AI that we are looking forward to rolling out, and that'll propel us towards launching our revenue models. Does everyone have a pretty good idea of what Quickgredients does? I don't know, or should, okay, no, okay. Yeah, so, Quickgredients, we match people with menu options for their diet. I think, maybe I didn't finish this point earlier about Happy Cow, but I got frustrated with Happy Cow because it matched me with restaurants, but not the meal itself. Okay, I did say that, yeah. So, what we do is we match people with the meals themselves, and since I was doing that I started doing that for a plant-based diet. I figured I might as well do that for all these other diets as well. And while learning about other diets, we started learning about, like cross-contamination and nutrition, and stuff. The other features that we show dietary consumers to empower them to make informed decisions. Good? Okay. So, so we're finding an AI that we're rolling out, and that's going to help us get to our revenue models this year, which we're pretty excited about because right now you're limited to the menu options that we have on the app, which I mentioned we're in Houston, Austin, Dallas, and Philadelphia because we have a dietitian in Philadelphia. But once this AI is going to help anyone who uses, like, as you can see in the image, what I'm trying to portray is you can just like scan any menu with ingredient text, and it'll basically help tell you what you can and can't eat. Suggestions. It'll suggest, not, so these aren't definitive, it's not absolute, but these are suggestions, and those suggestions will be backed by the ingredients, right? So that's why, basically it'll say, hey, these are the ingredients, these are the ingredients why I think it compromises your diet, right? So that'll be great because again, it's independent of the menus that we have on the app, and so that can be used by anyone, anywhere, any ingredient with menu, and I think that'll really accelerate our expansion and traction and investors and everything like that. So the AI is looking really good. Super excited about that. Crowdfunding is also coming up next. I think it'll double as fundraising and marketing basically for the product. And we already have a core group of beta feedback users who are pretty, like kind of net supporters and who are pretty excited for the campaign. So CEO, right? I think that's the main thing one of the main things that the next CEO is gonna kind of spearhead, right? And what I'm looking for is, so I have a more technical background, and as an entrepreneur, if you're building a team, you want to, of course, find people who complement your skills, not someone who does the exact same stuff that you do, right? Or is as good or at the same level or whatever. So, in the CEO, I'm more technical, operational, and I think in a CEO, I'm looking for more sales and marketing. Again, that's gonna go towards this crowdfunding campaign, I think most. So, but also networks, right? So that's a huge thing. When you start a new business or a startup or whatever, you have to, you start with what you got, right? And you start, that's just you. Or for me, I was building, my prototype, and then that's team-wise as well. And so, whoever you're able to convince to start wherever you're at, that's who you start with on your team. And it may not be, the best industry players, in the world. So, to say that team matters a lot. And the silver lining in my whole CEO situation is my previous CEO was great for where we were when we started, but where we are now and where we need to go for the end of the year comes back to what I'll be looking for the next CEO as far as who he knows and as far as our go-to-market, right? These are things that are really important, more about his background, having experience maybe with previous food companies, maybe previously, and stuff like that, right? And so being more strategic about this decision is really gonna take the company to the next level, and that's the silver lining in my CEO debacle. So let's see, that's dessert for Quickgredients. So the next time, or when you have the ingredients to become an entrepreneur, will you whisk it? That's it. Thank you.
Good with questions?
Yeah, any questions?
What persuaded you to start?
So I don't know if, and I don't mean this to offend you, we're buddies. So honestly, I can offend you and it's okay anyways, right? All right, but I don't know if you walked in a little late, but I used to enjoy more plant-based diet. I still do prefer plant-based options, but I'm just not strict. So I was using Happy Cow, which is an app that vegetarians typically use and vegans. And it would match me with restaurants, but it wouldn't show me what on the menu was allegedly vegetarian or vegan that they claim. So I would have to do a lot of extra research, extra work on my part to figure out what I wanted to eat at that restaurant. And then if I was disappointed, I would have to start the whole process over again until I was, I guess, satisfied or found somewhere that I would want to actually go check out. So, and again, that's for a vegan, that's for what I consider a more popular diet these days. Versus, and there's a lot of diets out there. Oh my God, I'm learning the new ones every day that are less popular, right? And so it's how do these other people, I meet people I met someone yesterday in Austin who told me that, and this was like one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life, actually. And she doesn't eat out. And like, that's the reason I do what I do. Because she has food allergies and she had a bad experience one time and it was so severe and bad that she has not dined out ever like since. And she said she's never dining out for the rest of her life. And I showed her my product and like how, of course, like talked about quitting. And she was like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm not gonna use it. Like she's dead set. And like that's why, like that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because people literally like will not eat out anymore. And like it hurts me, and I'm a foodie. In a place like Houston, Texas too, where like there's so much great food. And like I feel like having a diet or a dietary restriction should not feel like a restriction. And it shouldn't, you should be able to live out your foodie life. That really hurt me yesterday, actually, that person that I met. But in any case, yeah, that really is what to answer your question, why I do what I do or what got me started on it, yeah.
So you talked about how you sort of had the idea and had it in college, and your mom had some diet restrictions. You had your own diet. How did you validate the idea? Once you had this idea, you created a prototype. How do you find out whether people actually wanted this?
Just going. I mean, let's see. So there's me personally. So I mentioned Founder Institute, and that's one of the things that they like, of course, part of, Structurizing, right? They teach you a lot of this stuff, right? How to go out and validate your idea. But I kind of started doing that even before FI, just going out. Oh yeah, that's right. The college project, right? Yeah, it started in college, right? Building the prototype. And part of the class, they made us go validate it, right? So they were teaching it too. They said, hey, you got to go find 10 people who you think are struggling with this problem, talk to them, interview them, ask them these customers. Open-ended questions are important, right? You want to learn from them. It's not validating your idea. Like, you don't want to validate your own idea, right? It's them validating it because you're learning from them. So that's why open-ended questions matter. You don't want to feed them a response. In any case, that's how I did it, right? Just going out and talking to people who I felt had the... So I started this, again, more for talking to vegetarians. I did start talking to restaurants too, and we have a whole B2B side, honestly, of Quickgredients that I didn't even talk about because I don't know if you care or don't have time, but yeah. So I did talk to a lot of restaurants too for the B2B side, yeah. But for whatever side of your business, for the B2C side as well, yeah, talking to a lot of the dietary consumers. I saw his hand up first, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, you talked about how you were like taking on many different roles and wearing different hats along the way. So what was the most difficult role you had to take on, and how did you adapt into that position, I guess? All the chaos that was happening, I guess.
Most difficult. I think honestly, what I'm finding most difficult right now is fundraising, just because it's a moving goalpost, like I said. And that's something you got to do if you're like the founder, if anyone's gonna fundraise, it's you or like the CEO. And like I mentioned I'm recruiting a CEO. I'm not the CEO. I'm the CPO, Chief Product Officer. I don't know if I even talked about that or dwelled on that, but product is, I don't know if anyone's familiar with product, but okay, I don't want to stray here. Your question?
Yeah, it was, what was the most difficult role you had to adapt into, and how did you kind of tackle that problem?
Fundraising.
Yeah.
So right, I was saying that fundraising is the job of the founder or the CEO, and why I'm the CPO, but it's still my job because I'm the founder. So that's why. And then, sorry, what was the second part of your question?
How did you adapt into?
How did I adapt?
Yeah, like how did you kind of tackle the issues you faced along the way for specifically fundraising, I guess?
Well, yeah, I think it's just, if you have a continuous learning mindset It can apply anywhere, and you can figure anything out.
I guess as you as the founder, you're the one who can.
You just that's what it is being a founder, right? You just figure it's unknowns, and that's I think this is probably I think it came from a podcast somewhere too, but it was like the best businesses are just like they're just problem solvers. It's just the best problem solvers. That's what it is. Running the business is just being really good at solving problems. It's just putting out fires left and right. So yeah, I'm figuring out fundraising. I've subscribed for me. What I'm doing right now, I guess if you want to try this out, is you just find a bunch of I found a lot of newsletters, right, that have grants, right, and stuff. So that helps. And then the investor side, of course, the moving goalpost of it's relationships, and it's courting, and you have to they're not going to give you a check on the first date, right? So you got to continue to show them the progress, and that's what it is. And that's why I said whether you're getting the money or not, you gotta just stick to what you think is getting you that traction, and because that traction and is what you're gonna shoot them in your quarterly newsletter updates to the investors and say, hey, we said we were gonna do this last quarter. Hey, we hit this, and so you showed them that investors want to see that it's about de-risking their investment, right? It's an investment. Yeah. They want to get return. Yeah. So they don't want risk. They want to show that they want anything that shows that there's no risk in their investment, right? So how do you de-risk that? You show them that you say that you do what you say you're going to do, right? Because if you say you're going to do something, then you're going to do something that ideally is something that's good for the business. And if you follow through on that and they see that you consistently follow through on what you say you're going to do, they're going to give you money. So that's the game. And that's what I'm figuring out. Yeah.
So,
It's just time.
I come from India and we have a lot of different diets that most
Yeah.
religious.
Yeah.
But
Great for vegans and vegetarians.
There's multiple types of vegetarian.
Yeah. It's
What's the most astonishing diet that you came across in all of your research?
astonishing diet.
Craziest, most
Excluding
different, most
allergies.
weird.
Other than allergies, what's
Yeah.
the most surprising diet you came across?
So I think my CEO would have been because he did a lot more of he would go on Reddit, which is another tactic, go online, do research. Reddit is a great place to find niche, just niche users or niche people, right? So he would definitely be able to answer that better. I think the craziest one that I've seen is something like carrot allergy. But I don't think that sounds too crazy, right? I didn't get a crazy reaction. You have a carrot allergy? Really?
Deathly allergic to carrots.
Deathly, wow.
Myself,
Yeah.
tequila, my kids are like, oh, this is gonna kill you. I'm like, this is gonna kill you.
Carrots. Yeah. Wow. Well, there you go. Well, so I think the carrot allergy too was something that I read online. It wasn't even someone that I'd met. So you're the first person that I've met with a carrot allergy. Cool.
Not that crazy.
Well, astonishing. I like the word choice. So, yeah, nice. Yeah,
Crazy allergy?
Carpet.
Yeah, there's someone else. Like,
Allergic to carpet.
But
Okay.
he's not eating.
Yeah. That's not funny. Right. Yeah, I know. I think. Right. Yeah. I was like, wait a second. Yeah. I might be allergic to grass or something. Yeah. There's people allergic. So, yeah. Nice. Wow.
Time for one more question? Any more questions?
What keeps me going? Well, that person that I met yesterday. I personally, and I don't know if so. Yes, so the person I met yesterday. That's the social, and that was my genuine response. It was my first response. So it's not a bullshit he's just trying to be a good social person. But the other business side of it is I honestly want to genuinely want to just see this to at least revenue. I want to get it to launching our revenue models. Before I even consider giving any reason of giving up. So that's just another less social side to why I keep going. Yeah.
Yep. You mentioned earlier
that you're building an AI?
Yeah.
feature?
We're building AI right now. We're already using the AI. It's already, yeah. We haven't rolled it out yet. We want it, you know, like of course we want it to get accurate and more confident before we make it consumer facing.
Yeah, I was just curious how you were going
Testing and
about
training.
building it, training it out.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So
Tools you've used.
recruited the former head of AI at Samsung. He's on our team. So he's the one building it. And he's using AWS. I can't, you know, I'm not going to give you our secret sauce.
Right, yeah.
It's business. But, you know, he's, we're basically, sorry? Well, I mean, I'll tell you some stuff, yeah, but I'm saying, yeah, he's using AWS, yeah, like I didn't give like the biggest, you know, like, trade secret. But no, like, so but it is like we're leveraging data, you know, data sources from a lot of different areas, and we're training it. So actually, man, should I get into some drama? Y'all want to hear some drama? Do we have time for some tea? So part of another factor, and I mentioned like profitability. I'm not going to go into why the previous CEO left again, but one of another reasons I think, yeah, I was actually right about this too, was so we're bootstrapped, right? And so we brought on the former head of AI at Samsung. He's kind of new to the country, so he just kind of needs some help getting established. So we gave him some equity, but we're also paying him a little bit. We're bootstrapped. I'm just Uber driving, so I can't pay this guy a lot. So basically, my former CEO was paying most of that. Goes to say, the first AI model wasn't working too well. And the former CEO, since he was paying for a lot of that didn't jive too well either with him. In any case, right now, so the first AI model, multi-binary classification, I forget what the term is, but it's a lot of different binary classification models because we're saying vegetarian or not, gluten-free or not, right? We're classifying something yes or no for 11 different diets right now. So, but that wasn't working out too well. And so he developed another model in tandem. It's an LLM-based model. And I think that's about what I'm willing to share with you. But does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool.
How big is your team?
Sorry?
How big is your team?
So I'm full-time. We've got our head of AI is part-time. Everyone else is part-time. Our head of AI, we've got dietitian, we've got another software engineer who helps me out, CEO, the next CEO. So that's 4 plus me, so that's 5. And then we have 3 interns. We have a machine learning intern and 2 analysts interns. So about 8 right now.
How did you get people to join your cause? You're only paying one of them, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing, right? It's a juggling act, right? It really is. It's a balancing. So yeah, you got to, and you got to convince people to join your team. And if you don't have a lot of money off the bat, then yeah, it's a whole other. So I guess so I found my first CEO. Oh, I'm not on that slide anymore, but I found him on. Who's familiar with Y Combinator? Anybody? Okay. So are you familiar with their co-founder matching platform? They have so Y Combinator is an accelerator. Accelerators are, I mentioned Founder Institute earlier. They're these programs that just help startup businesses. They give them resources, they teach you stuff, help you provide structure to your business, right? What I was saying earlier. So Y Combinator does that. It's actually the most prestigious one in the entire world. And they have a co-founder matching platform. So if you have a business, you can go on there, set up a profile. It's like Tinder. And you just match with someone else who wants to either commit to an idea or they have an idea themselves, right? So that's how, again, me and my co-founder, we matched on Y Combinator. So that's how I got him to my team. And then the head of AI at Samsung, ideally, now that the AI is actually working pretty good, still one of the best hires that we've gotten. And we got him just from LinkedIn job ad. So lucky and grateful. It's just timing, honestly. Again, there's a lot of luck involved in this frankly. So yeah, the dietitian as well, LinkedIn job ad, and again, make sure you get like your team. Like when you have a startup, like you don't have time for B players. Like you need to find the best people because like you're not like like you don't have time for people who can just fly under the radar at like a big corporate company. Like you need to find people who like are the best, right? So in any case, as soon as you can do that, right? Again, like I said, you have to do what you can when you start. But so our dietitian, she's like been on like NBC, Fox, ABC. She's been all over the news. We brought her on the team, one because she's like a lead celiac dietitian, but two because of her network. And then who else? And that was again, yeah, LinkedIn as well. 3, the analysts. So the interns, just my involvement at UH. Going out to stuff, right? It's being full time on this. Like that's why investors, if you do want to seek investors, one of the things I look for is like you got to be full time on your startup. And why do they have that as a requirement? Is because that's like a game changer, right? For me, what I was about to say is that's why we have interns, because I'm able to go out to stuff again. The former CEO, he was part-time. He still helped out a lot. He contributed a lot. He did a lot, but he wasn't able to do, I mean, nearly as much as I was because he wasn't full-time. And so, I mean, he wasn't able to go out to pitch competitions and do stuff like this. And I was able to go out to like events that UH sponsored. And that's where I met some students who were basically who loved the mission and were bought in and wanted to help out, didn't care about pay. They were students, so they actually were looking for experience, right? Something to put on their resume. They worked at this startup, right? So they were, there was definitely something in it for them, but yeah, weren't paying them. And that's how I got 2 of the interns. Actually, no, only one. Another one of the interns was so I went to UT Austin as well for my bachelor's degree. UT has a Texas Venture Labs program. So it's still university related, but it's a program where they basically find startups and they have students who are wanting to work with startups for a semester and they pair them together, right? So that's how we got another intern, specifically that was actually intentionally through that program. And then she stayed on and she's continued to work with us now. So she was through that program last fall. The program has ended and she's still working with us this spring as an intern. And then the last analyst was actually not even a student. This guy's a professional full-time, but he wanted to just help us for free. He's just involved in a lot of different startups and stuff. So he's just an entrepreneurial guy. But that was, I guess, how I found him was through a pitch competition. So he was there too. And yeah, we were just talking about each other's businesses and he was like, hey, I want to help you out. So yeah, you got to go out. You got to go out, get in the community and do stuff. It's really hard to do this if you're, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, but I wouldn't be half anywhere near where I am today if I was like part-time or doing this like just from my room or remotely or something,
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah. I'll let you later.
One more question.
So what's next for the app?
Yeah. For the app? Well, so we are expanding to New York, ideally as New York first. We want to expand to New York, LA, and Chicago. This is because our hypothesis is I'm just focusing on B2C. So for consumers, our primary users are going to be people who are new to a city. So probably travelers who have a diet because then they're more likely to not know where to go for that diet and then want to use our app. And so we want to target big cities that are likely to have travelers. And so that's why we're going to New York City. Of course, these big cities, it just works out that big cities are also more likely to have a lot of restaurants and a lot of different cuisines that serve different diets. So it just works out that way. But that's why we're targeting New York City, LA, and Chicago, because we want to target travelers, people who are new in town and maybe don't know. Because Quickgredients still works in Houston. Houston's still a big city too, and it's actually still great for that. It's a great test case to start. But if you live in a city, right, then you're already probably more familiar with where to go for your diet, and so they're just less likely to use our app as much or as often. It's just not as crucial if you're not.
You said you are pre-revenue right now.
Yeah.
What is your
plan.
grow revenue?
So I think I should talk with you about that. That can be a long talk. I'm trying to see how to answer that really short. Plans to grow revenue. Plans to grow. Yeah, if you were an investor. Well, so we have our AI. Really, it all comes down to the AI, and that's why we're super glad right now that it's actually like getting more accurate because we're that much closer to rolling that out. One, because it'll be actually a subscription model. So our B2C side is going to be both ad revenue and subscription based. Ad revenue for the free users. We want to minimize the friction for having dietary consumers to come on this app to use it, and we want to provide as much value to them as possible for free. But then if they want to use the AI and not be limited to the menus that we have on the app, then they could pay a $5 monthly subscription. So that's the revenue plan near term for B2C. I'm not going to go into the B2B. We're still even exploring that, but yeah, that's the plan for that right now. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the QR code.
Okay, sure.
It's on my Canva already, so I can just pull up the Canva. Sorry, guys, real quick.
Everyone close your eyes.
I think this is it. This is it right here. Okay. Should I like make that full screen? Can I even do that?
That should